Folks, it's that time of year once again. It's football time here in the state of Illinois, as it is week 1 of the 2018 IHSA football season. Coming to you from Lake Zurich High School, alongside John Anderson, I'm Ryan Fay with you here on the call, as we're going to see the Lake Zurich Bears taking on the Fremd Vikings. And John, both these teams kind of having opposite 2017 campaigns, but there's something different this time of year, especially with Fremd having quite the bit of an offseason.
Well, they've worked real hard, and the word I get is that they're going to change their offense a little bit, or quite a bit. They're going to emphasize the run more this year. And, you know, it's high school football. Players get bigger as they get older, and they think they'll be able to run the football. They had a fairly decent defense last year. Their offense was the problem, but they feel that with a more conservative, run-oriented offense, they'll be able to do better this year.
Yeah, and they do have a tall order ahead of them here against the defending 7A runner-ups in the Lake Zurich Bears, who started the season off 13-0 before getting to that state championship game against Batavia. What are you looking to see out of Lake Zurich here tonight?
Well, Lake Zurich last year, it was the first year under Luke Martins, their new head coach. He had quite a banner start. He went all the way to the state championship game and almost won it, so he wound up with runner-up. And he emphasized to a greater extent the passing game, a little more spread offense than Lake Zurich has had in the past. And probably the pinnacle of the passing game for them was the quarterfinal game down at St. Rita, where they really just blew it open, and 35-10 at half, and Lewandowski, their quarterback, was hitting passing real well. This year they brought in another quarterback. They wound up winning that one 47-17 with a lot of passing, and however Lewandowski graduated. This year they have a transfer that's coming in, Matt McGaw, and he's coming over from Grant. He was the starter there for 2 years, and he's 6'4". They say he has a strong arm, and he can perhaps get into that role of the passer and provide and keep the passing aspect of their game going. And they still have a running game, and they have that great Lake Zurich defense. Last year when these two teams met over at Fremd, Lake Zurich held Fremd to -3 yards rushing, and I think we'll see Lake Zurich play good defense here again tonight.
Yeah, and as John just mentioned, it was a 21-3 victory for Lake Zurich in week 1 of the 2017 season at Fremd. We'll see what 2018 has to offer us as we get set for first half action and a whole lot more on our HETV Game of the Week. It is that time once again. Football season is upon us. Welcome everybody to our HETV Game of the Week here on Friday, August 24th, 2018. Alongside John Anderson, Ryan Fay with you here, coming to you from the home of the Bears, Lake Zurich High School, as our Week 1 matchup to kick off the IHSA football season is the Lake Zurich Bears taking on the Fremd Vikings. Both of these teams kind of having opposite seasons from a season ago, John, with Lake Zurich starting off the season 13-0, making it all the way to the Class 7A championship, while for Fremd, they didn't see any playoffs last year while they went to a record of 1-8. But, John, it was a young Fremd team looking to learn from their mistakes in 2018.
The quarterback Sachs was a sophomore, and then their schedule was almost unbelievably tough. There's no excuse to be 1-8, I guess, but they played 8 playoff teams, and one of those was Lake Zurich, runner-up in 7A. And then they had the semifinalist Hoffman Estates in 6A and semifinalist Maine South in 8A. So they had a unusually rough schedule, but nevertheless, their defense was not, their offense was really weak. They had the weakest offense in the conference last year. So what we need to look for in the early going here is there some better execution on offense than they had last year. They only scored about 12 points a game last year, and that's just not enough to get many wins. And this year they've got a running back that they're talking about. He was there last year, but he'll be more prominent this year, Nicky Ratine. And we expect to see them, from what I hear, they're going to try to assert themselves on the ground. Now, last year in the opener here against, or at Fremd against Lake Zurich, they were -3 yards rushing. So they'll have to eclipse that early in the game in order to give us some feeling that they can make it a real contest tonight.
Will Ferry, Ryan Palmer back deep for the Vikings. And to kick this one off for 2018, Andrew Stange, the senior kicker. The Bears are in their home blues, the Vikings in their road whites. It's got more of a week 7 weather feel here tonight. A little cool, clouds in the area with some rain expected. Hopefully will stay away though. But nevertheless, football season has started and away we go. This one towards the left side and into the end zone for a touchback. So nothing coming off of the opening kickoff. And here comes that Fremd Vikings offense down that you were just mentioning a moment ago. When these two teams met off to open their 2017 seasons respectively, it was the Bears that won it 21-3. And in that second half for the Vikings, John, only 10 offensive plays were ran in the second half by Fremd.
That won't get anything done. They're just 3 and out and 3 and out. And I know after that game, I think toward the summation at the end of the game, I said, well, this Lake Zurich team looks like one that's headed for a deep run, and that's what happened. They almost won state.
Three to the right for Andrew Sachs, the junior quarterback who's in the shotgun, is going to take the snap, and he is going to be immediately swallowed by...
There's that defense.
Yep. They only allowed 9 points a game as a defense last year, and they are picking up right where they left off. And that's a tackle for a loss for a couple, and it'll be 2nd and long.
Got 8 starters back this year. They did lose Jack Sanborn, who was the superstar. He's up at Wisconsin now as a D1 recruit up there. But they've got 8 guys back, and we saw some real hustle on that last play.
Off the man in motion there was Ryan Palmer, and got back to almost the original line of scrimmage, brings up a 3rd down. Just underway here in the first quarter of the opening act of the 2018 season. The Bears of Lake Zurich and the Vikings of Fremd. Same formation pretty much once again. 3 to the right, 2 to the left of Andrew Sachs, the junior quarterback, standing at 5'11". You have to wonder, as the Bears rush 3, throw over the middle, and it is picked off in the secondary. Austin LePage.
He set the record last year, the all-time record for interceptions. I believe it was 11 interceptions last year, and that was an all-time record for Lake Zurich. And he's starting out with a big bang, an interception right at the outset of this ball game.
Not a bad way to start off your season if you're Austin LePage, the senior defensive back at 5'9". Well, you've already got 1 pick 1 game into the season, and now here comes the Bears offense led by the transfer quarterback in Matt McGraw that stands at 6 feet 4 inches tall, with 2 to the left, 1 to the right, 1 man in the backfield, and trying to get into the second level was the running back in Thomas Vegas, the 5'8" junior running back. Got a gain of a few. It'll still bring up 2nd down for the Bears.
The Bears lost Lewandowski, who really passed well toward the end of last season. I was down at the St. Rita game in the playoffs, quarterfinal game, and he had about 250 yards, 3 touchdowns, and it was 35-10 at half, 47-17, and really had quite a night passing.
2nd down and 8. Vegas got 2 on that run off of first down. McGraw drops back, looking to throw deep to the end zone on the right side, and that one overthrown, and the pass incomplete, which will bring up 3rd down, no flags.
And that one almost made it. That looked like some of the passes that Lewandowski was throwing that night against St. Rita in the quarterfinal. And here they lost him, but McGaw has quite an arm, as he just demonstrated there, and we can expect to see more long passes like that, I believe, in the course of this game.
Now the players coming into practice this season, yes, they were heartbroken about what happened in the state title last year, but they are refocused, re-energized, and ready to go in 2018. 3rd down and 8, and McGraw, facing pressure, spins out of it for a moment, and the pass is dropped by Vegas. And the good job there by the Vikings front 7, and that'll bring up 4th down for Lake Zurich. And it looks like
there was Luke Billick rushing the passer along with about 3 other Vikings. They're putting a lot of pressure on him. Brings up fourth down.
And mentioning
they've
Luke
got the wind to their back. It's
yep. And
probably a little long for a field goal, or are they going to try it?
They are going to go for it, and that is going to be Stange, the kicker, to go for the attempt.
48-yard field goal, I believe.
Testing the leg out early here in this opening quarter of the season. The snap, the hold, and the kick is up. It is a low kick, and it is, I believe it is no good. It is no good.
Just short. He didn't quite get enough height on it. The wind might have taken it over. He had kicked it just a little higher. And John, had a pretty good power on it.
Hey, you mentioned the wind. It was in their favor, but not enough on the height of the kick per se. And if, John, as you mentioned, if that was maybe just a little higher, that maybe would have gone through. But just short on the kick, so no points on the board just yet. Fremd will take the ball back. As both offenses on their opening drives, not showing a lot, but you know, the opening drives, they're kind of like those opening jitters, so to speak. 1st down and 10 now for Fremd with 9:55 to go here in the first quarter. Still no score. 3 to the right, and Sachs on the drop back. Looks to his right and evades a couple of blue jerseys to get ahead for a gain of about 5, and that'll bring up 2nd down.
Quarterback Andrew Sachs, gain of 5.
They say Sachs likes to run. He's somewhat of a run first, pass second quarterback.
Head coach Luke Sponzo, the former All-State linebacker for Fremd back in the mid-90s, kind of keeping the run-themed offensive game plan as they've had, and you see it right
Takes
there.
Off. There's an example of his running right there. That's a nice.
And that's a big
run.
gain towards midfield for a 1st down for the Vikings. And right on cue as we talk about it, he gets a hole up the middle for that 1st down, and they're going no huddle here early on.
Played as a sophomore last year, but he grew quite a bit and got quite a bit stronger during the offseason.
Approaching 9:15 to go here in the first. Still no score. Clock will now continue to run after they set the chains. One man in motion towards the line. Sachs facing pressure, spins away from a defender, throwing across his body over to his far sideline, out of bounds. Pass incomplete, brings up 2nd down. One of the things, too, for this Fremd team, as they are getting their field redone, some of the players have gone out to practice at Palatine High School during the summer. Say it's a rival high school, yes, but when the boys want to go out and practice their game, they do what it takes. 2nd down and 10. Sachs with the drop back, looks to run, tries to find a hole, and he is immediately met by the Bears defense. Gets a gain of about a yard and to bring up 3rd down and long coming up once again for the Vikings.
3rd and 8 Vikings.
Last time on a 3rd down, they were picked off. And that was courtesy of Austin LePage, the 5'9" defensive back. Two out to the far right, one to the left, on the far left hash for the Vikings. There's a snap as Sachs rolls to his right off the snap, gets a block, and he gets towards midfield at the 50. Obviously not enough for the first down, but it'll bring up 4th and a few to go. And we'll see what the Vikings offense does here. And it looks like they may be bringing out the special teams unit, John.
And Lake Zurich is ready to take possession again on a punt exchange here. So far, the defense is out front of the offenses in this game.
In the last matchup back in week 1 of last year, wasn't a lot of offense in big spurts. It was kind of spread out throughout the whole game by Lake Zurich as the fair catch is made inside the Bears 15 by LePage. So a good punt by Fremd, and the Vikings will have to work out of their own territory, or I should say the Bears rather.
They do have the wind with them, and it's a, you know, it's probably 9 miles an hour or so, I suspect. So that'll make a difference, and when teams are heading north, they're probably going to open it up a little more.
Yeah, temperatures expected to get to the low 60s tonight, and kind of mentioned this before kickoff. You wouldn't expect this in week 1 of the season, especially here in late August. You think you get those still hot, sticky summer temperatures, but not tonight. It's got more of that middle of the season kind of feel to it.
It's suddenly football. I was on the tennis courts the last 2-3 days, and it was great tennis weather, hot and sticky. And here we are, it's suddenly football. It's like there should have been 3 weeks in between these 2 days.
Right on cue, though, with football starting tonight, it feels like football.
Yeah, the weatherman did us a favor. I've been at some opening games when it's really hot in the press box.
There's a gain of a yard there on that draw play by McGraw. 7:15 and counting now to go here in this first quarter. Still no score between Fremd and Lake Zurich.
Only have 2 wide receivers here.
And they're going to go to the running game again, and not much doing on it. Maybe a gain of a couple. As that one was one up the middle trying to find a hole, and it'll bring up 3rd down.
Handoff is to Dwyer, gain of 3.
Pack stands here on the home stands right below us, and on the far side where the Fremd crowd is gathered, they are packed up in those bleachers as well. You know, some of the Fremd students, when I was on my way in here this evening, I guess they lost their sense of direction. They were actually running towards the Lake Zurich student section, not knowing where they were supposed to sit.
Students are students.
3rd down and 6. As McGraw to his left gets past the 17 and gets towards the 20-yard line, and that'll bring up another 4th down for the Bears. And that one not doing much there from Matt McGraw and his offense.
So far, Fremd looking like they're a determined football team to get in here and play with a state runner-up. Playing good defense, and they had a little bit of the running game going.
You got Will Ferry and Ryan Palmer back deep for the Vikings inside their own 45. Sanji on the punt. It's a nice punt, and calling for the fair catch, and I think he tried to deke everybody, but that didn't work, was Will Ferry. He raised his arm up for the fair catch, and the ball will be placed at the 39-yard line for Fremd to come out on offense once again. You can kind of hear the folks in the crowd below us going, hey, wait a second, and refs right on cue with the whistle for the fair catch.
Well, we'll see if Ratine starts to get some running room. He's number 3 out there, and quite a bit of talk preseason that this looked like it would be a good season for him.
Ratine also plays defensive back for the Vikings as well. 6'2", 185 pounds coming into the season. 1st down and 10 for the Vikings with 5:37 to go here in the first quarter. Still no score. As the fake handoff to Ratine. Sass gets wrapped up in the backfield. And back there was Bennett Amoroso, the 5'11" senior D lineman, for a loss of a few, and it'll bring up a long 2nd down for the Vikings.
Ratine just the decoy on that one, and here we have this formation, no running back.
Ratine in motion again, and he is going to get the handoff.
Does get the ball, and he spins out of a tackle.
That time gets a gain, getting past the original line of scrimmage to bring up a more manageable 3rd down now for Fremd. We're going to spot that at the 43-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and about 6 to go. 3 lined up to the left, 2 to the right. Routine in motion now back towards Sachs, the quarterback, and on the slant route, the pass is incomplete. Jack Hipshin, the intended receiver, and it'll be 4th down for the Vikings. So again, both offenses trying to find some sort of rhythm here, and John, that really hasn't happened yet so far through this first quarter of play.
Have not achieved continuity to get more than a first down here or there. I think that, what is it, maybe 1 first down each or something?
I think we had the 1 first down, and that was the quarterback keep by Sachs that got him towards midfield, and that was it.
Yeah.
That's been the biggest play on offense so far from either side, as Austin LePage is back deep for the Vikings to receive, or I should say the Bears to receive this punt. This low punt will take a Fremd bounce inside the Lake Zurich 30, and letting it roll till it can't no more is number 20 in Joey Routine, the brother of Nick. And the Bears offense looking to come out with some more rhythm for themselves as well. Again, back in week 1 of last year, these two teams opened up their season. It was over at Fremd, and the Bears got the road victory 21-3, and they held Fremd to under 149 yards of total offense.
It was minus 3 yards rushing last year. They went backwards on the ground. Of course, that was probably a couple of sacks involved there, but still minus 3 yards last year.
McGraw drops back, faces pressure, and the pass is completed to the near sideline, and taking a bit of a hard hit there was Jack Moses, the 5'11" junior receiver, as he gets a gain of about 6, and it'll bring up 2nd and 4, just past the 30. McGraw, the quarterback transferring over from Grant High School, who's looking to just kind of plug and match after the great success that this Lake Zurich offense had last year on their way to the 7A championship game.
He started for 2 years over at Grant.
On the handoff and taking it up and getting a block downfield for a first down and a lot more as the ball comes out in midfield. And the Vikings say they have it, and it looks like they do. And how about that for a momentum stopper from Fremd?
Yeah, that looked like he was going to break it for a second there, and we go all the way from a nice run like that to a turnover, and Fremd has the football.
Thomas Vegas got into the 2nd level, and he was trying to look for a block to his right down the far hashes. And just as he was trying to make that move, it looked like as he took some contact, the ball just slipped out of his arms, and just like that, here's Fremd with the football at midfield at the 50. Just over 4 minutes to play in this first quarter as the stakes get higher, as this run now is for a first down, as Nick Routine will bring it into Bears territory. And now it's Fremd trying to carry some momentum offensively.
Routine had a good off season, working out and building himself up, and has had quite a practice from what I understand. A preseason practice
First down
with the Fremd Vikings.
First down and 10. Routine in motion, and Sachs keeps it himself. He's going to roll to his left, gets past the 30, and he's going to be just short of a first down, but another good run from this Vikings offense that'll bring up 2nd and short.
Well, Lou Sponzel was saying they were going to get a little more basic and try to run the football, and that's what we're seeing here tonight.
And noticing some of the plays that they're running too, you look to how they ran this last year, and you kind of saw, as John, you kind of mentioned before the kickoff, how they were kind of a young and more inexperienced team, and you're kind of seeing that being a little more polished with how they're executing the plays. 2nd and 3, a high snap that Sachs is able to handle. He's going to run up the middle for a first down past the 25, and he'll be taken down just a few yards after that, and a new set of downs for the Vikings.
Sachs up the middle again for another Vikings first down.
They are executing pretty well. There's a good faking on some of these run plays, in addition to some blocking from the offensive line.
Clock will now wind as the chains have now been set as we approach 3 minutes to play here in the first quarter of week 1 of the 2018 IHSA football season. Alongside John Anderson and Bruce Anderson. Working the camera with me, Ryan Fahey, with you on our HGTV Game of the Week, as Andrew Sachs to his left flips over, and it looked like he flipped enough for the first down. We'll see. It's close. Either way, another good run by this Vikings offense, and Sachs keeping the ball, and they do rule it a first down, so the chains will move.
Quarterback keeper, gain of 10, Vikings, first down.
Quite a turn of events here in light of their, just looking at their records from last year, you know. Fremd has really come to play.
Yeah, if you were looking at it based off paper, Fremd does not look like a 1-8 team from 2017 as Sachs gets tripped up in the backfield. And just as we say that, he has a gain of nothing there, so it'll be a second down and 10. So you have under 2:30 to play. You know, it's kind of no matter.
Second down, well, we'll see if they want to pound it out here and try to get it in the end zone that way. No running back there. Or here he comes crossing.
Right on cue, it's routine. He's going to go to his right inside the 10. And he
slices his way down to about the 3-yard line or so.
They may mark him back a couple.
His knee went down.
They're going to put him at the 4, so it's going to be 3rd and about a yard.
Third down and short.
And they've kept the same formation here for the most part on this offensive drive, as Fremd is looking to threaten and get on the board first here at Lake Zurich.
That's a different look. Fremd, I don't recall them running this kind of a formation much over the years.
Well,
no running backs.
Against a team like Lake Zurich.
in motion.
And it's routine trying to get the edge. He's going to try for it. He gets around the defender, and he's immediately met at the 1.
He's almost there. He got hit right at the 1.
He wanted to lunge to the end zone, but he was met by the last-ditch effort of a couple of blue jerseys on the Bears' defensive side to bring up a 1st and goal for the Vikings as they'll reset the chains with 1:23 to go here in the first. I'll be on the far hash. Cole Tripka having the conversation with his quarterback there, and Andrew Sachs. Routine in motion, and the snap is bobbled, and Sachs falls on it back towards the 15-yard line, and a break for Lake Zurich, as it'll be second and long coming up for the Vikings. And you take 2 steps forward, and they take 3 steps back.
Yeah, very costly error there when they were banging on the door to taking the early lead here. Now they're all the way back to looks like about the 15.
Under a minute to play, 40 seconds and counting to be exact. 2 to the left, 2 to the right. Routine in motion. Sachs going to drop back, throw the ball, and that is intercepted. Or are they going to nope? They're going to say the ball hit the. The Bears defense thought they had another pick, but the officials say it hit the ground. That was Jason Sayer who tried to lunge for the INT, but it'll be a 3rd down and long still coming up for the Vikings with 32 seconds to play here in the opening quarter. Had that been picked up, that would have been yet another devastating blow for this Vikings offense. So you don't want to look on your stat sheet and see 2 picks you thrown in the first quarter. And yet it's still no score here overall in the first. And on the handoff, it's routine, and he is immediately met by the Bears defense.
No running room that time.
Justin Quast,
up 4th down. It looks like losing a little bit there. Now it's even a field goal here is about a 35-yarder or so.
Justin Quast led the way to the junior linebacker on defense on that 3rd down play. We'll see what they do here as the officials blow the whistle, and it looks like a timeout has been called, and it's been charged to Lake Zurich with just over a tick left to play here in this first quarter. So after what appeared to be an upcoming score for the Vikings, it is a botched snap that puts them back towards the 15. And then an almost thrown interception that they called incomplete, which was obviously the right call as the ball was trapped underneath the turf. And then on that 3rd down run there by Routine, he is immediately met in the backfield, which bumped them back a couple more yards.
Couple more. And
so you went from 1st and goal at the 3 to 4th and goal at the 18. And if you're the Fremd offense here, what do you do? Do you just take the safe 3 on the road, John, or how do you play this out?
Well, I'm not so sure that they're strong in the kicking department. I think Routine is the kicker, and he's better as a runner than as a kicker, is the way you might say it. You know, and they're for a high school game, they're about a 35-yarder, which is not a give me anywhere, and they may just try to shoot the works and throw a pass in the end zone here and see what happens. You know, see if they can cash in that way.
3 kickers officially listed on the roster. The senior Casey Wink, along with Anthony Piacheski.
Anybody steps forward. My information is that they don't have a lot of confidence in their kicking game.
And here comes that offense, as you say, right on cue. 4th and goal. No one in the backfield, 2 to the left, 2 to the right. As this will be essentially the final play of this first quarter. Sachs has time, throws to his left to the end zone, and it is caught. Is he in? No, he is not. The near official said he was out of bounds. It was caught, and that's a pretty incredible catch.
Awfully
close. But they called him out of bounds. Quite a way to end the first quarter. If you're Lake Zurich, a big defensive stance on your own goal line. And that'll switch us over to quarter number 2.
That's the beauty of the new season. Teams that wound up 1-8 can work real hard, have a good camp, and at least for one quarter they can stay with teams that were 13-1. And the way this game was going here, it might be a tight ball game for a long time.
Yeah, and the way that the first quarter kind of played out, you know, about halfway through that first quarter, yes, it was no score, but it really felt like for the first 6 minutes or so, John, that even though it was 0-0, felt like Lake Zurich had the lead.
Yeah, they're you know, we're used to seeing them win a lot, and of course Fremd has been a big winner. The last year was an aberration for Fremd. To go that to a record like that. Part of it was the difficulty of their schedule. 8 playoff teams, a state runner-up, and 2 semifinalists. That has to be one of the toughest schedules that any team has played. Nevertheless, they wound up with a bad record and sort of a weak performance on offense most of the season. Tonight they're showing us more.
They'll switch sides now for the second quarter. It'll be the Bears going left to right offensively on your screen, and then Fremd will be right to left when they get the ball back. McGraw on the handoff is going to go to Vegas, who gets a nice push at the last second and gets a gain of about 4, so it'll bring up second down for the Bears. Coming on the field as a sub is Jack Moses now, as he had a breather on the opening play.
I guess they're, you know, they had Joey Stutz there for a number of years, or a couple. I think he was a 3-year starter, and now they're They're using several running backs. McGaw loses control of the football and then gets a pass off. That was.
That could have easily been disastrous for Lake Zurich, and a great job there by McGraw, nevertheless, to somehow control the snap and then still at least throw downfield. Pass incomplete, and I think he'll be okay with the incomplete pass after how the play started.
McGraw has had 2 years of varsity play, and he does seem to have, you know, we're only 1 quarter into this. He's does seem to have a strong arm, and he does seem to be pretty light on his feet. He's scrambled pretty well on a couple of occasions. And just the news there is that he's had to scramble because Fremd has really been putting some pressure on.
And Fremd's defense has kind of really been the story here early on, along with their running game that we've seen has some big spurts at some points from that first quarter. 3rd down and 6. Just 49 seconds played here of the second quarter so far. And the handoff will go, and bouncing off of a couple of tacklers there, Shirley Gifford, the senior running back at 5'10", gets a gain of a few, brings up 4th and short, and the special teams unit will come on out.
4th and 2, Lake Zurich.
Another back and forth battle here of not a lot of long offensive drives here, but a defensive stalemate here so far has been the statement of this first half. Ferry and Palmer back for the Vikings. Andrew Stange will handle the punt. kick it from about his own 15. And a high punt, and the wind kind of not helping him there, and it takes a Viking bounce. And it'll go out of bounds to the far sideline just inside the Lake Zurich 40. So a bit of a bonus there if you're Fremd, as you get great field position here to start your first offensive drive of the second quarter.
They're practically starting the drive in 4-down territory with their run-oriented offense that they've shown us so far. So you give a team like Fremd, you know, other than this first set of downs, they'll probably be in 4-down territory.
Ball officially at the Bears 39. 2 to the left, 2 to the far right, and Zach's going to keep it. Look for some holes ahead of him, and he trips up just ahead of the 35-yard line, and they're going to mark him at the 34.
Zach does seem to be showing us quite a bit more power, and he's a little bigger than he was last year.
And we have our first flag of the game. We'll see what they call it on, or
they've got Zach's listed at a 5'11", 150. He seems to be a little huskier than that.
I believe they may have been called an illegal. Yep, it's going to be an illegal shift on the Vikings. So the first contest of the, or should I say the first flag of the game is against Fremd, and that'll back him up a bit. They'll mark it as a 1st down and 15, and they'll put the ball back at the 44-yard line. And now they'll wind the clock after everything has been said. On the far right hash, Sachs takes the snap. He's looking to his left, and everybody kind of followed his eyes. Tries to get a hole up the middle, gets past the 40, and gets past the original line of scrimmage for a 2nd down.
He's been running well all night. He saw the opportunity there and picked up a few yards.
You kind of saw a great movement of the line by the offensive Fremd, kind of shifting everybody towards the left hash, and Sachs took that opportunity and gave himself probably an extra few yards because of it. As this one on 2nd down, he shakes to his left again and then motions to his right, gets towards the far sideline, and it'll be wrapped up just before the 30-yard line, taken out of bounds, and it'll bring up a 3rd and manageable for the Vikings.
A couple of yards short of the 1st down, and oh, there's a flag down though.
And the flag back at the 36-yard line. We'll see what they call. Wait for the official's decision, and it's going to be I believe they're going to call a hold on the Vikings.
Penalty is a hold on the Vikings.
So that's 2 flags tonight, and they're both on Fremd. So that'll negate the Sachs run there on 2nd down. And that 10 yards will back them up towards midfield. It looks like they will have it marked at the 46-yard line. Again, just when you think this Fremd offense is starting to move forward, they kind of shooting themselves in the foot now with penalties.
With penalties and
make it officially
ball
2nd
handling
and
problems.
2nd and 18 as Sachs on the keep, looking for some blocks. He gets a couple and gets towards the original line of scrimmage. And they're going to have it look like at the 39-yard line, and they'll bring up 3rd down.
3rd and 10.
Well, they really are keeping it on the ground, Fremd.
I think we've only seen...
The word I heard was that they were going to emphasize the run game, and they certainly are.
I think we've only seen 2 pass attempts for this whole first half so far. 3rd down and 10. And we get a whistle before the snap, and a timeout's been charged to the Vikings.
Timeout on the field. Vikings timeout.
The Vikings will have 2 remaining. It's their first timeout of the half.
Attention all varsity moms.
Again, I want to thank everybody for joining us here for our opening act of the 2018 IHSA football season, alongside John Anderson, Ryan Fay with you here on the call, and the great cam work from our guy Bruce Anderson directly to my left up here in the booth. It is a cool and misty night here at Lake Zurich High School. Not the late August weather you would anticipate, but nevertheless, we have it for you anyway. John, as you mentioned, you were out on the tennis courts the other day with perfect tennis weather, and
Yeah.
a 48-hour shift, it becomes this.
It's Chicago. Weather changes drastically in a short amount of time, but fortunately it was in the right direction here. I was concerned that we'd have a hot, sticky opener.
Well, next couple days I checked the weather. It's going to probably be back to that. So I did not mean to burst your bubble by saying that, but nevertheless. 3rd down and 10 for the Vikings on the Lake Zurich 39 with 8:47 to play here in the first half. Teen in motion, Sachs drops back, a rare pass play we're about to see, and it is almost another interception. That's Jason Sayre, who was trying to slide to make the interception, but he bobbled it and could not complete it, and that'll bring up 4th down for Fremd.
And
That's twice now we've seen that from this Lake Zurich defense.
Panico out there at the linebacker for Lake Zurich, number 54. He had a severe knee injury last year, and they made an incredible comeback.
I believe he's on their left side of the defensive line, number 54, as you mentioned him.
Yeah.
Doctors are telling him that he says, well, when can I go and play football? What makes you think you're playing football? Well, here we are on August 24, 2018, and he is on the football field, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah,
and we
he
get
had something like 4 ligaments torn. It wasn't just the usual 1 ligament, it was 4, and it caused such swelling and so much blood to go there that perhaps the healing process accelerated somehow. And,
he completely tore, it was a delayed game on Fremd. He tore his PCL, MCL, LCL, as if I didn't name enough, and his meniscus were all completely torn. His ACL was partially torn. His tibia was fractured, and the top of his quad muscle was also torn. And his doctor, when asked about it, said, quote, he's been doing knee surgeries for more than 20 years and countless surgeries each day. He's never seen a worse injury than mine. And judging by that, I don't think anybody would have either.
Somehow, amazingly, he made this comeback without surgery, as I understand it.
And one of the things, it was a great write-up by Patricia McGraw, that the standard procedure after about a month of letting kind of the tissues and the muscles sort of heal is surgery having to be required, and they said because it healed up so well, they didn't even need surgery.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Called it a medical miracle as the punt gets inside the 5-yard line. A great punt there by the Vikings, and the Bears are going to have to work from deep inside their own territory. But, I mean, those stories kind of just always remind everybody that football is always just a game.
Yeah.
And it's actually the reason because of that how he's thinking about actually going into the medical field instead of perhaps becoming a future lawyer. So the injury really opened his eyes up. And
it's one of those life-changing experiences. Well,
and here come the Bears now on offense as they try to work quickly off the snap as the pass is completed to the left side for a gain of a few.
Short pass, a little into fairly heavy traffic there, and
McGraw's pass is complete. Gain of 3. 2nd and 5.
Be a gain of about 5 off that completion, so it'll be 2nd and 5. And they have the ball spotted at about the 10. 8:24 to play here in the first half. No score between the Bears and the Vikings here on our HETV Game of the Week from Lake Zurich High School. And it's cool and mist rainy kind of evening here at Lake Zurich as the handoff will go to Vegas, who gets swallowed up within the defensive line of Fremd and gains a few, but it'll bring up a still 3rd and manageable for the Bears.
Short gain up the middle.
Yeah, we haven't really seen a lot here from this Lake Zurich offense just yet. Although there have been times in this first half when
the group of running backs has been contained pretty well by Fremd. They're being met early and often.
Quite disciplined is this Vikings defense so far through this first half. They're down 4. Bears on their own 11, and the handoff is going to go to the right side, and getting towards the 15-yard line was number 24 on Charlie Gifford.
Handoff 41, Dwyer around the right.
Got the first down out of that.
That's a Lake Zurich first down.
gave it the extra push in the end. So it'll be a first down for the Bears, and the crowd getting something to finally cheer about offensively because they really haven't had much to do that for. They've been great on defense, but the offense wanting to kind of follow suit. Back in the shotgun is McGraw with 2 to the left, 1 to the right. Man coming in motion from the left side. And the run going up the middle and trying to take a defender with him there was Logan Moskal, the 6-foot junior. So it'll be a gain of 4 on that run for the second down coming. So we now have under 7 minutes to play here in the first half. No score. And in a game so far that really hasn't had a lot of delays in it.
Now Lake Zurich overloads their right side of the field with 3 receivers.
And McGraw's actually going to keep it on the handoff.
Other direction.
Now, as you mentioned, they load up the right side, and a late flag comes in after the play.
McGraw with the keeper on the left side.
McGraw kind of motioning for perhaps maybe a horse collar tackle, maybe, as he fixes his pads. We'll see. Get the word from our official in just a moment, as that penalty is going to go against Fremd. So McGraw gets the call from the sideline, so he'll jog back out there, as that'll put us with under 6:30 and counting to go. 3rd down and 6. One out to the near right, that being number 81 and James Piggott, the 6'4" junior wide receiver. A tall target for the quarterback in McGraw. And this one's going to be on a handoff to the right, and on the reverse, trying to get into the second level, getting towards the 30-yard line is Jack Moses. And that'll be enough for a first down and a couple more. And a new set of downs coming for the Bears.
Thank you, Bears.
Clock stops at 6:04 as they reset the chains. And now we're starting to see the running game pick up here for Lake Zurich.
The receivers have been well covered tonight, and so they've shifted to the running game more. Only 2 wide receivers right now.
And this one on the handoff will go to Vegas. He gets through a couple tacklers, gets past the midfield mark.
And he's way down there. He's out of bounds at about the 38 or so.
Best ran play so far for Lake Zurich tonight puts them in Vikings territory. With 5:39 to play here in the second quarter. Much needed confidence booster from Lake Zurich as now they try to get things cooking on offense. And we get a whistle, and it looks like they're gonna stop the clock, and a timeout has been called, and it's the second timeout by Fremd. Both teams will go to their respective huddles for the time being. That'll be the Vikings' second timeout with 1 remaining here to go in the half. 5:39 to play here in this first half, and Josh has been kind of back and forth with the running game on each side here so far through 1 half of play.
Yeah, we're seeing more running than a lot of these early season games. They air it out. The weather is usually pretty good, although we've got more of a brisk opening game weather here, and neither team has been all that successful with the pass, and so they're both going to the run.
And during this timeout, we're having a battle of the iPhone flashlights. Whose student section is brighter? I shouldn't just say iPhones, I should say Android and Samsung.
Smartphones only been around for about 11 years. They're starting to dominate our lives a little bit. They're everywhere.
And now it's become
in every which way.
It's becoming a student section battle. Who's got the brightest phones on their side? I feel like that could be like a statewide tournament, actually. They can make something out of that.
Well, three wide receivers this time, 2 left, 1 right.
And McGraw turns around. We're going to throw to his left across his body, and that's going to be a nice throw by McGraw. Great catch there from Moses, and it gives the Bears yet another first down.
He's got good mechanics and a nice touch on the ball, and certainly probably before the night is out, and certainly as the season goes on, I think we'll see him achieve some pretty good passing stats.
And McGraw at 6'4", he's nimble for his height. As the first down here at the 25 with under 5:30 to play here in the second quarter. One receiver out to each side. As McGraw takes a snap, and it's Vegas on the handoff. It's going to go to his left side past the 25 and gets tripped up for a gain of a couple.
On the left edge. Short game, 2nd and 7.
Give him a gain of 3 on that play. Bit of a, let's say a little bit of a combination of the smoke coming from the Lake Zurich Quarterback Club where the food's being sold and the rain coming down. It may look like it's raining more when it's actually not. Second down on the 23. McGraw on the handoff. It's going to go to Vegas once again. Slips away from one defender, gets an ankle breaker on 2. And gets inside the 10-yard line for a 1st and goal for the Bears.
Some fancy stepping there. He managed to weave his way through several defenders.
So 1st and goal for Lake Zurich as they look to get the first points on the board here tonight. The ball's officially spotted at the 8. Under 4:30 now to play in the first half. As the running game has now started to keep some continued success. 2 wide receivers out to the right, 1 to the left. Vegas in the backfield with McGraw. Man in motion. Vegas takes the handoff, and he is met hard trying to lunge forward, and he is stopped at about the 2.
Tommy Vegas, tough run.
Lake Zurich with a very long drive here that started at, I believe, the 5-yard line. They're now down to the 2.
It'll be a very impressive 95-yard drive, starting deep in your own territory to perhaps taking it for 6. 3:43 to play here in the opening half. There's bunched up, only 1 receiver out. A lot of options in this Lake Zurich offense. Where do they go? They give it to Vegas, and he is just short. Maybe gained a yard. He's right at the 1.
Hand off to Vegas, up the middle.
It'll be 3rd down now for Lake Zurich.
Ball's on the 1. 3rd down, Bears.
And it seems like the idea here has been just give the ball to Vegas and let him do the rest. Jack Moses has been under center the last couple of snaps in place of McGraw.
3rd and 1, yeah.
Yep, Moses is listed as a quarterback.
And they've got everybody in now. This certainly looks like a run.
Yep, and it's Vegas. You called it, and he is in for the touchdown. Bears strike first. Vegas scores on the 1-yard run.
Quite a drive. Little bit of passing, but mostly on the ground. Vegas with a number of good runs. They traverse 95 yards to take the lead. Get on the scoreboard here with 2:45 left in the half. We finally have a touchdown.
So a long drive, 95 yards down the field when Lake Zurich started on their own 5. And they turned it into 6 points. As now they go for the extra point, the snap, the hold, and the kick. It is up, and it is good. So a long offensive drive from Lake Zurich is capped off by a 1-yard touchdown run from Tommy Vegas, the 5'8" junior running back, to give the Bears a 7-0 lead with 2:45 to play here in the second quarter. And John, it was only a matter of time before we knew somebody was going to just have to get a touchdown, but of the running kind.
They did assert themselves on the ground. There was that one big play there where Vegas must have picked up about 35 yards that really propelled the whole drive and put them in almost into 4-down territory, and from there they were able to take it the rest of the way.
And the thing now is the ball will go back to Fremd after the kickoff. Is, their running game has, kind of been, if we look at which running game has been better, I mean, regardless of the score right now, it's pretty even. The way Fremd has been able to run the ball still has been quite impressive, only trailing by 7.
Yeah, they said they had worked on it a lot in preseason, and their backs, their quarterback and their running back were bigger and stronger, and they made a tactical change to say, well, we're going to emphasize the running game. We've got to get the running game going, and that's what they've done. It hasn't resulted in a touchdown yet, but they've eaten up a lot of clock with it.
And out there, a return there from about the 10-yard line was Ryan Palmer, and he gets just short of the 30-yard line, and they mark him at the 28.
They only have 240 to work with. However, if you break someone on a running game, you can score real fast.
Now 240 still plenty of time. No need to rush anything by any means. Well, we've seen a couple times with Fremd trying to air the ball downfield. There's been 2 occasions now where they basically should have been interceptions. They were just essentially dropped by the Lake Zurich secondary. As the Bears defense trying to rally the crowd up and get loud. 2 out to the right. Now make it 3. 1 to the left.
Routine goes out to the...
Yep, and a great defensive play that's going to now be...
Somebody got a hand right in his face there, it looks like.
Yeah, they're going to call that on Gritsonis, the senior defensive back. We're going to get him on the hold of routine. So that'll negate the play that we thought was well covered. It's not to say it still wasn't, but nevertheless, that'll be a free play for the Vikings to give them the yardage in the first down as they get marched towards midfield with now 2:34 to play in the half. So they are going to mark the balls as a 15-yarder with the pass interference. Not a spot foul. 7-0 Lake Zurich. 3 to the right, 2 to the left, routine in motion. Yeah, Sachs takes the snap and he gives that one off to Routine, who gets past the 45. It has a gain of a few, and it'll bring up 2nd down. Second down and 6 on the 47. All right near midfield. And not much urgency from the Vikings here as we approach 2 minutes to play.
Lake Zurich in their standard 3-man defensive line.
And Sachs is going to air it downfield, and it is caught. And breaking away free to the end zone is Jack Hipshin for the touchdown.
Wow. There's pandemonium on the sidelines over there by Fremd. Here's a program that went 1-8 last year, and on that long pass play, they're right back in this game. They can convert the point here. They can have a tie ball game with under 2 minutes in the first half with a team that almost won a state title.
So just like that, how's that for an answer? As Hipshin got into the second level and broke away, and he got away from the 2 defenders at his ankles and was able to break it for 53 yards to the house as the extra point is up, and it is good. And just like that, we got a tie ball game, and now the offenses are starting to come alive with 1:52 to play here in the half.
It's a fresh new year of high school football, and what happened last year is last year, and Fremd wants to put that behind them and come out here and play with anybody.
Yeah, and they certainly have definitely put the 1-8 season from last year behind them, as they have hung around with Lake Zurich here for all of this first half so far. And I've been more so, if you want to keep comparing from the season they had last year as a younger team, and now they're starting to mature more and kind of understand and learn from the mistakes that they had from a season ago, a lot more disciplined to the football, especially on the defensive side.
Yeah, they're playing good football tonight to keep this Lake Zurich offense in check. I saw 3 playoff games with Lake Zurich last year. St. Rita, where they had tremendous passing, and then the Mount Carmel game, there was very bad weather for passing, and they didn't have that much. But then in the state championship game, they moved the ball through the air pretty well. And but the Fremd defense has created complications. They put a good pass rush on, and they're covering receivers.
Routine on the kick will go back towards about the 6-yard line for Lake Zurich, and getting into the second level and then getting tripped up. Ball comes out, and they're going to say it is not a fumble. They're going to say he was down on the ground. No fumble being called. Officials will spot the ball at the 32-yard line. No turnover. It'll be Lake Zurich football. And I heard the gasp of air come out of the crowd of Lake Zurich once the ball came out. But it'll still be Lake Zurich football with 1:45 to play here as the ball will be spotted on their own 32.
Well, now we'll see what kind of arm McGraw has. This is certainly a situation where airing it out seems to be the likely course of action.
McGraw back under center, as it was Jack Moses who was under center on that goal-to-goal play when Vegas took it in for the 1-yard touchdown. And speaking of Moses, he gets it on the handoff, trying to reverse fields, and gains nothing on that one as he has nowhere to go but the line of scrimmage, second down.
Handoff to Moses, no gain. 2nd and 10 Bears.
As we approach now under 90 seconds to go in the half. And thanks for joining us for our week 1 of the 2018 IHSA football season. Alongside John Anderson, Ryan Fay with you. Coming to you from the home of the Bears, Lake Zurich High School, as they host the Fremd Vikings in what becomes a long journey. That's what it feels like for the players, and for us, it'll fly by really quick. 2nd and 10. McGraw throwing to his right, and the pass is completed. And sliding down was Hunter Wiesing, the junior tight end, for a first down.
McGraw to Welsing, 10-yard gain, and that's a Bear.
So Welsing with the first down as they get now towards the 43 with a new set of downs. So you have 1 minute now to go. 3 out to the left, nobody to the right. And on the drop back, it's McGraw airing it out to his left. That pass is caught. And into Vikings territory, the Bears go. As Michael Gallus, the senior 6'3" wide receiver, makes the catch going out of bounds with 47 seconds. McGraw getting the call from the sideline, heads back out. And clock doesn't stop in that instance, and they say, wait a second. Officials are stopping play for a moment. We do have an officials timeout. I believe they're looking at the clock, I want to say. Well, let's take a look. I don't. No flags or anything was thrown when the whistle had occurred. I wonder, they were talking to the coaching staff. I wonder if it could be a sideline warning perhaps, John?
Not
you see
sure
some of the coaches now signaling up to the booth to the left of us for the clock. As now they put it back to 47. So yeah, it was a clock issue.
It's down to 42 for a little while there.
I think they may have just jumped the gun on it. Nevertheless, first down and 10. McGraw steps up in the pocket, gonna roll to his right, looking downfield, and the pass is juggled, and it is somehow caught.
And he may have gotten out of bounds and stopped the clock.
James Piggott bringing it in for the first down. Catch of the night so far, juggled it midair and was able to hold it in, stay inbounds for the first down. They'll reset the chains. The clock stops with 38 seconds at the moment. Bears do have 2 timeouts remaining here. if they do so to use them. Vikings have 1. Clock will wind. They're going to say he didn't get out of bounds. McGraw steps back. Pressure comes, throws to his left, and he heaved it, and it is incomplete. As diving for the interception was Ben Kirka, the senior defensive back. So that'll stop the clock with now 30 seconds to play. Second down.
Had a man open a little short of the defender there, but threw it a little too far.
And he was also throwing that off of his back foot as the pressure was coming in on him.
Yeah, he's had to run around a lot in this first half, and that's attributable to some pretty aggressive, good play by the Fremd defense, especially the guys up front. And Billick, 51, is a leader of that group.
Second down and 10 on the 33. McGraw actually mishandled the snap for a moment as he rolls to his right. Looks to heave it over a defender, and a high-risk pass looking for Vegas is incomplete. And a flag comes in late. So we'll see how this determines the course of action here for the final 22 seconds. It came in after the pass had been thrown. And I believe they're going to... There was an ineligible man downfield against Lake Zurich. So that'll back them up. A penalty that they obviously did not wish to have here this late in the first half to try to get a score in before halftime commences. And they actually declined the penalty, that being Fremd, so they'll take the loss of the down instead. Bit of a gutsy call there from the Fremd side. Instead of backing Lake Zurich up, they'll just take the loss of the down. As McGraw drops back, and he is swallowed up in the backfield.
Now
So McGraw goes down for the sack. He is met by a sea of Vikings. The clock will continue to run. The chains, though, say it's fourth down. From a play ago, I think we're just going to disregard that. Now the clock stops with 0.3 seconds on the clock.
Lake Zurich will throw it in the end zone on this one and see what happens.
So it'll be a Hail Mary time for the Bears. And McGraw in that Bears offense, he's got the arm to do it from 33 yards out. That won't be the problem. It'll be a matter of just a jump ball and who can go down and get it. Or up, rather.
He'll probably run around in the backfield and sling it right into the middle of the end zone somewhere, and where they'll probably have 2 or 3 Lake Zurich receivers running for the football, and we'll see what happens, how it comes out.
Tie score of 7, as this will be the final play of the first half. It's fourth down. Ball is at the 30. It'll be at the 37-yard line after the sack on McGraw. There's 2 currently out to the left and right respectively. Ball in the near right hash. Final play of the half is
4 wide receivers.
Yeah, but it appears the Vikings may only rush 3. They now will bring in a 4th. McGraw looking to air it out. He does down the field. Who's going to get it? And it is intercepted inside the 5-yard line. And that'll do it for the first half of play, as getting the interception was Luke Bielik, the senior 6'1" linebacker, to end the first half of play. So that does it for our first half of play. Back and forth it went. And we go to half tied at 7 between the Vikings and the Bears.
It's got to be quite uplifting for Fremd after what happened last season, and to have this kind of a first half be going off the field tied 7-all. This is a movement, a major movement for that program in the right direction.
Yep, and they've held Lake Zurich in check. We'll see if it can carry over into the second half, as we'll come back for second half action and a whole lot more here from Lake Zurich High School on our HETV Game of the Week. Getting you set for second half action here on our HETV Game of the Week. We are tied at 7 between the Fremd Vikings and the Lake Zurich Bears in our HGTV Game of the Week. Alongside John Anderson, Ryan Fay with you here on the call. A 7-7 game. The offense for both sides, John, started to spark towards the end with a couple of touchdowns. We saw a 1-yard touchdown run from Thomas Vegas and a 53-yard touchdown pass from Andrew Sachs to Jack Hipshin for the Vikings. What are you looking forward to seeing from both sides here as we get the second half about to get underway?
Well, I don't think we'll see a drastic change in anything as to their styles. I suspect that Lake Zurich may pass a little more in the second half than they did in the first. Fremd had come into this game emphasizing the run. They did emphasize the run. They had a big pass play, though, that made the difference there as far as scoring. But both teams playing good defense. Fremd was more of a moderately good defensive team last year, and they're playing better than they played last year. The Lake Zurich defense has been tough. It's held Fremd to 7 points, and I think we'll see these teams go with much of what they've been executing so far. You know.
Now, you mentioned the running game for both sides, and it was a deep pass play that got the Vikings on the board. Who would have thought that coming into action here tonight? But that's what we have is both teams have taken the field. Lake Zurich will be going left to right in their home blue jerseys on your screen, while the Fremd Vikings will be kicking off right to left in their road white uniforms, as now they've just realized they need to flip field. So everything I just said is now moot. So reverse what I said, except for the jersey uniforms, and that's what we have here to begin the third quarter.
I haven't seen this happen. I can't recall having seen it happen at all, quite frankly.
The players duped me.
Yeah.
That's their week 1 prank, I guess. So a couple guys back deep for the Lake Zurich Bears. You've got Connor Berkeley back deep for the Bears alongside number 6 and Jack Moses. And it'll be Nick Routine to kick things off for the Vikings as the second half is underway. And a bit of a shorter kick. Wind, again, not in that favor. Ball out of bounds, so that's obviously an illegal kick. So that'll give the Bears a nice boost in field position here to begin this second half.
Second half of the 11th straight game in this series. Lake Zurich leading 7-3, but tied here at the half, at the start of the second half in game number 11.
These two teams met last year, and it was Lake Zurich with a convincing 21-3 fashion. And it was in that second half in that game in week 1 back 364 days ago that the Fremd Vikings only ran 10 plays of offense total in that second half, and that was it. So looking to turn that trend here, as it looks like they are going to, Lake Zurich opts for a re-kick. They're going to say it was a false start, excuse me. So they didn't call on the illegal kick. They're calling it on the false start. So that's going to back up the kickoff now for 5 yards.
They're kicking into the wind. It's not an overwhelming wind, but it is south to north. Probably 7-8 miles an hour, I would guess.
And a little bit of that light mist rain coming down. And everybody bundled up in coats and pants. Not something you'd be seeing in August, but that's what we have. Is this is a bit of a more of a squib style and a bit of a bobble. And who's got the ball? We'll see the call in a moment, and they do say Lake Zurich comes on it, but that would have been what a way to start for Fremd. Is falling on top of that one for Lake Zurich was Marique Enters for Lake Zurich, who lost it for a moment but was able to recover. I don't know if that was designed or not, John, but it almost worked in favor of the Vikings.
It almost worked in their favor, and it's a little hard to tell if it was by design or an onside kick. Teams do that occasionally, of course, in unusual situations. They do it late in the game to try to, when they need the ball desperately, but
as Vegas on the carry up the middle gets swallowed up, as he was met there, led by the sophomore offensive lineman, Inanna Thudakura. There's a gain of nothing. That'll bring up 2nd and 10. New personnel change as well, as Jack Dwyer now goes out there for Lake Zurich.
even though I said I thought both teams would stay with what they had, I think Lake Zurich will pass a little more here.
Two
Especially
to the left, one to the right.
In a series like this with the wind behind him.
And here comes Dwyer as he just checked into the game, and he is met at midfield, gain of a couple. They'll bring up a long third down coming up here for the Bears at the 50. Again, the transfer quarterback in his first official start with the Bears. And Matt McGraw, a 2-year starter at Grant before coming to Lake Zurich. Coming into an offense that was clicking on all cylinders, leading him to start a season at 13-0 before running into the Bulldogs of Batavia in the championship game, losing in overtime. Third down and 8. McGraw drops back, steps up, looks to go to his right, and he is taken down. That is number 85, and Tafara Akamore on the sack. And that brings up fourth down for the Bears.
On the sack, fourth down Bears.
So as you mentioned, John, the Vikings defense, they are holding their own here, and it is bleeding over to start this second half.
Yeah, the whole Viking performance, the toughness of the team, offensively and defensively, has been surprising. I expected them to be better than last year. That doesn't take much, but they're quite a bit better than last year, really.
And as you mentioned, their opening schedule for 2018 was pretty brutal. And the looks of things, this one is going to dribble inside the 5, and well executed by the Lake Zurich special teams squad to down it perfectly, and the Vikings are working deep out of their own territory now.
About the 5-yard line, well, we saw Lake Zurich go all the way down.
Down at the 5-yard
on a 95-yard drive, so we'll see if Fremd can duplicate that.
9:45 to go here in this third quarter. 7-7 tie between the Vikings and the Bears. Andrew Sachs, the quarterback for Fremd. He's got 2 to his right, 2 to the left, and we've seen a lot with routine always coming in motion from the right side and right on cue. He is now going to take the handoff. Sachs is going to keep it, and he stumbles forward to the 10-yard line for a gain of about 5. And it'll be second down coming up.
Routine is a player with speed who, if he breaks a tackle, he could go places. And he's got a lot of space here for running.
And a bad snap. Sachs lost it, and the Bears, I believe, fall on top of it, and they do.
Oh, boy.
And it is going to be first and goal at about the 2 for Lake Zurich.
That's the first overwhelming break of the game right there.
I couldn't see from our vantage point who got it, as the ball just appeared to have just slipped through the hands of Andrew Sachs, but in the end, first and goal for the Bears offense, and they are right away now to knock on the door to try to score. After
Fremd has been playing such good football, suddenly a mistake of that magnitude.
I guess that's the second time here tonight we've seen Sachs with a bit of a miscue with the snap. And coming out to take the play under center, looking like it'll be Jack Moses once again. We saw this on the last time they had a goal-to-go situation when Vegas took the 1-yard touchdown rush in. And that's kind of the same formation we're seeing here. McGraw's not in, Moses is under center. In the backfield is Jack Dwyer. On the snap, it's Dwyer. Looking to pound his way in. He's trying to fall
Very
forward.
close.
He gets a yard, and that's all he gets.
Dwyer up the middle, short game, second and goal.
That brings up second and goal. Have to wonder, going to keep pounding it with Dwyer as they're on the left side. Looking at the 11 out there now, I don't see Vegas out there at the moment, unless they break the huddle. And I don't see him out there, so neither him or McGraw out there at the moment. So
only one wide receiver. Appears they'll just try to pound it right here.
Dwyer motions out to the right. Let's see where they go with here. Moses, he's going to take it himself. He tries to dive forward, and he's in for the touchdown.
In for the touchdown. Yeah.
So Moses on the 2-yard run.
13-7.
So So that'll put Lake Zurich up 13-7 with the extra point coming. And again, mistakes like that from Fremd that you saw on the miscued snap from Sachs can cost you, and it cost him 6 right there with perhaps 7 upcoming. It'll be Stangi on the kick for the extra point. The snap, the hold, and the kick is blocked. And
wow. Wow.
you saw Stangi, he was trying to wait for the defender to perhaps run past him, but nothing on that extra point, so the score will stay as is, 13-7.
Fremd playing some physical football, blocking a kick.
2 plays, 2 yards. Jack Moses touchdown.
So, well, that was an enormous turnover there, and very early in the second half, so there's all sorts of time. There's 8:24 left, so in the third quarter, so we've got all kinds of time, but it was a mistake that made the job harder here for Fremd, a Fremd team that's come into this game off a bad year and played pretty solid football.
And you look at it from the turnover side of it, as you were kind of just alluring to just a moment ago. Had it not been for how well this Vikings defense has played, the deficit would be a lot more than 6 right now.
Yeah, yeah.
And Stanju gets set for the kick from his own 40 with Will Ferry and Ryan Palmer back deep for the Vikings of Fremd. And the ball falls off the tee, so we'll have to redo that. And the wind going, as John mentioned a little earlier, from south to the north direction, right to left on your screen. And if it falls over again, we'll have to have somebody hold the ball on the tee. The referees are making sure everybody's set as well. And I think we are, so we'll be good for the kickoff upcoming. .8:24 to play, 13-7 Lake Zurich. A booming kick will be a touchback.
Stangy with another big boot into the end zone.
So now with the Vikings offense trying to give themselves a little redemption after the bobbled snap by Sachs that eventually led to a 2-yard touchdown run from Jack Moses. 1st and 10 for the Vikings on their own 20.
They have run some, but they haven't run real convincingly against this Lake Zurich defense. It's very hard to do. Maybe they can step it up a little bit right now. Here goes Sachs.
On the keep to his right, gets past the 25, and he's taken down to the 26. So a nice run there to the right. Bring up 2nd and short.
Gain of 6. Tackle by Boston Sanborn.
We mentioned as we were getting set for the second half that we were pleased and, impressed with the discipline that Fremd has shown against this powerhouse in Lake Zurich. And we saw that bobbled snap from Sachs that lets that touchdown as he runs forward past the 35 for a 1st down, and a new set of downs will happen for the Vikings. You kind of hate to see that if you're a Fremd fan, where you kind of you end it with a little momentum, and then you get a play like that it kind of just deflates you a little bit, and trying to have to rebuild once again and get back into it down by 6 with 7:40 to go and counting in the 3rd.
Yeah, they just have to put that big error behind them and pound the ball here and see if they can get back into a. They could actually get into the lead, of course. They did block that extra point.
Another nice run there to the right from Sachs. Gain of about 8 or 9.
Seem to be getting a little more yardage on these runs.
The offensive line has been able to get towards that second level as the ball is spotted at the 45-yard line. 2nd and 1. Two lined up to the right, and 2 out to the left. Man in motion, and Saxon is going to keep it, and he falls forward for a first down for Fremd.
Sacked with the keeper up the middle, short game, but Fremd first down.
Sometimes it hasn't been pretty with the runs here, John, but it has been efficient here on this drive, and as they get towards midfield, another first down for the Vikings.
That was their plan for the coming into the season here, was to run the football and run it successfully, run power football through the line. Is number 76 out there right now, the big sophomore tackle? He's one of their biggest linemen.
You can see him out there.
There he is, yeah, there he is. He's at about the 45-yard line. They think that he's got quite a promising career as an offensive lineman. He's 6'3", about 260 as a sophomore. So he's a young man that could be 290 or so by the time he's a senior.
Needless to say, Mama fed him right. 2nd down and 10 at the 47. 3 out to the left and 2 to the right. Sachs alone in the backfield. Man in motion, it's Ratim. Sachs takes it off the left, shut off the snap, gets past midfield in the Bears territory, and another nice run from Andrew Sachs. That's
how many times has he carried the ball tonight?
Especially on this, he's had it on every drive except that incompletion.
Yeah, he's really a workhorse. They have him listed at a very lightweight, 150 pounds. He seems like he's got a few more ounces on his frame than that.
They're down in 3, and he keeps it, but this time he's met by the ferocious Bears defense with a loss of a couple, and it brings up 4th down as he's taken down at about the 48.
It's like a run blitz may have been on that time. Only play 3 down linemen, but they've got, depending on how they line up, 4 or 5 linebackers, and they can really come at you in certain situations.
It'll be Austin LePage back deep for the Lake Zurich Bears. The team will boot this end to end, left to right, and he will call for the fair catch as LePage, and he calls for the fair catch at about the 14. Well, we have a moment. Again, looking ahead to our game next week, we will see these same Fremd Vikings as they will be taking on Hersey High School next Friday night at 7:30. So make sure you stick around for that one, as that'll be week 2 of our IHSA football coverage as we're just getting underway for the 2018 football season.
Hersey's another team coming off a good season, not as spectacular as Lake Zurich, but they made the playoffs and had a nice record last year. I think they may have been 7-2 during the regular season.
4:57 to play in the 3rd. 13-7 still Lake Zurich with the lead. McGraw will give the snap to Vegas to the left side. Gets to the 20. Takes a hard hit. Ball is loose, but goes out of bounds. Everybody gets up okay, and some words may have been exchanged by Ratim, who, as we mentioned, also plays on defense for the Vikings, and Vegas after the hard hit. There's a gain of about 5. It brings up 2nd down. The 6'4" McGraw almost bobbled the snap. He gives a delayed handoff to Vegas, who is met immediately by the Vikings defense. And it'll bring up 3rd down, as leading the way there, trying to get him down there, was Tafara Okamore, who got a big sack on McGraw back in the latter stages of that 2nd quarter. That led to that interception for the Vikings as the clock expired in that 2nd quarter. Nothing on that run there from Vegas. It'll bring up a 3rd and 5. Ball's placed at the 20. As we now have under 4:15 to play here in this third quarter. One out to the far right, one to the near left. McGraw takes a snap, and he appeared to have slipped on the turf, and he lost a yard, and that'll bring up 4th down for the Bears.
4th down Bears.
Turf Monster wins the battle against McGraw there. Again, it hasn't been really raining in terms of downpours or anything, but that consistent mist making the turf just a tad slick. Seen some players slip throughout the night so far. Back deep once again will be Ferry and Palmer for the Vikings after this punt. And a high punt that'll take a Viking bounce for a moment and then is batted back and is eventually picked up. That's Ferry who was trying to do a little sneak attack there against the Bears, but they read that right away. So maybe gain maybe 2 on that return attempt. Nevertheless, ball will be placed at the 46-yard line. Here comes the Vikings offense that has been the theme of running, running, and running some more.
This time they've got a shorter field to work with.
And decent field position to start. They actually placed at the 49-yard line. It's a wonder if you see more production out of Nick Routine, the senior running back. As Sachs is going to drop back. Looked like he wanted to pass. Instead, once again, he runs past the 45 to the sidelines and out of bounds. He's close to a 1st down. He's going to be just short, I believe. It'll be 2nd down for the Vikings.
Surprising the amount of running room he's had. He's usually Lake Zurich closes on that kind of quarterback keeper a little faster, but they're clearing out some of the Lake Zurich defenders with receivers going downfield that have to be picked up.
Official gain of 8 yards on the play from Sachs on the run. 2nd and 2. He's going to drop back, throw up the middle, and it is picked off. Maybe that's why they've been running so much.
Yeah.
Gritsionis on the pick, and the Bears get the ball right back.
Another turnover.
Be the 2nd pick today against Andrew Sachs. As Gritsionis makes the INT, and 1st down Bears at their own 44. .259 to play, under 3 minutes now to go in the quarter. And Lake Zurich with a chance here to really try to put their staple on this game. McGraw throwing it to his right. Pass is caught. 1st down. As that is James Piggott, number 81.
McGraw to Piggott. Gain of 13 and the Bears.
As they now march in toward Viking territory.
Nicely thrown pass. Good velocity on it. Reduces the chance for an interception. And here we are with the Bears at about the 45. They have the lead, they have the ball, and they've got a fresh set of downs.
As they still lead 13-7, 1 out to the left, 2 to the right. Now a man coming in motion from that right side, and the handoff will go to Dwyer to the right side. Gets past the 40, and he gets tripped up about a yard or 2 ahead. Nice run there from the sophomore linebacker in Jack Dwyer. A gain of 6 yards puts the ball at the Fremd 39-yard line with 2:27 and counting now to play here in the third quarter. Thanks for joining us on our HETV Game of the Week here on this Friday, August 24th, alongside John Anderson and Ryan Fay with you here on the call. From up top the press box here at Lake Zurich High School, we're staying dry while the fans are getting the mist rain on them. Snap from McGraw. He's going to roll out to his left, throw across his body, and a nice throw. And the pass is complete inside the 35. And the pass is completed there to Hunter Welsing, the junior tight end.
Has a nice touch on those little swing passes.
And another Bears.
He's very smooth with his feet, too, as you saw him make that spin move, and he was rolling to his left, throwing across his body to Welsing. Making it look easy as that 6'4" quarterback. Now we have under 2 minutes to play in the third. Still 13-7 Lake Zurich. As now the passing game is starting to get a little more fluid.
Only 2 wide receivers.
Each receiver out to each side is McGraw throwing to his left, and the pass is caught. That's a gain of about 6, as making that catch there was Piggott.
McGraw to Piggott on the hit, gain of 5.
Lake Zurich really hasn't been in a standard spread with 4 wide receivers very much tonight.
Yeah, you saw a little bit of that early on in their opening drives in the first half, but ever since then, that's kind of been it.
Got the running back behind McGraw.
That's Dwyer in the backfield, and he gets it right on cue, and he is met at the 30 by a sea of white jerseys as more players tumble over after the play sort of ends. Ball will be spotted at the 29, gain of about nothing on that one. It'll bring up third down for the Bears. 39 seconds to play. They're down and 5 on the 29. Same formation as the play a moment ago, as flags are now going to be thrown, and it looks like the Bears got the Vikings to jump off sides. That would be a 5-yard booster. That would give the Bears the first down, and that's what it'll be. So another blow and an unforced error. Lake Zurich capitalizing on its 3 penalties now that have become rather costly. 2 of them ended up in scoring plays. Let's see what this third one perhaps does here with under 20 seconds and counting now to play in the quarter. Oh, and a misstep there from McGraw. He falls right on top of it, and probably the smart play there. As he falls to the 31, and that'll do it for this third quarter of play. We will go to the fourth quarter with the Lake Zurich Bears still up by 6, 13-7 over the Fremd Vikings in our HETV game of the week. And again, while we have a moment here as we get ready for the fourth quarter, again, our week 2 broadcast next week will be Hersey at Fremd for a 7:30 p.m. kickoff. So we'll be seeing these same Fremd Vikings next Friday night. And overall as a whole though, John, when you look at how they were to end the season in 2017 and the opening act here for 2018, as a whole, it's been day and night.
Yeah, it's quite an improvement, and a sturdy defense for Fremd, and their offense has moved the football on the ground pretty well. They haven't done too much with their air game, but coming into tonight, it was said that they were going to emphasize the ground game, and they've done that. So to be in this position, and they pretty much gave up 1 touchdown. We could so easily be tied 7-all here in the fourth quarter. So it's encouraging for Fremd. However, they've got to rally here to stop Lake Zurich. Lake Zurich going with this looks like about a 7-man line there, and content to. Or 6-man line with a flanker there, and here goes the pass, but it's.
And I'm going to say that was incomplete.
Good coverage. Three defenders from Fremd were right there, so he had a crowd of defenders, and he tried to slip it in there short. A low ball, but it was a little too low and incomplete.
Only 1 second ticked off there as we now have the fourth quarter underway. We're down in 15 on the Fremd 31. One out to the near right, 2 out to the left. 1 man now in motion. As McGraw drops back, faces some pressure, is going to have to spin around to his left again, tries to get his feet set, he can't, he's going to try to escape and go forward running, but he's taken out at the 35-yard line. And another big play from this Fremd defense, and they will not go away.
Big loss, yeah.
Devin Dinham on the sack, 4th down Bears.
And it'll be the special teams unit coming out for the Bears. As Fremd is showing they are a pesky bunch to this Lake Zurich team that on paper were the sizable favorites. And they only have a touchdown lead right now with 11:46 to play here in regulation.
Touchdown minus a conversion point. So the door is open there for Fremd.
To imagine a shallow punt forthcoming from Lake Zurich to try to pin Fremd deep once again. They did it before. Can they do it again? That is not going to work on this punt at all. And that actually will take an extra Fremd bounce. So the punt actually is a 0-yard punt as the ball is spotted at the 36.
Right up in the air and comes down at the line of scrimmage, approximately.
That is not what Lake Zurich had planned for, and it was what Fremd wanted. So a punt of nothing, something you don't really say often in football. As the chains will get set and the Vikings will start from their own 36. With a chance here, with the door still open, to perhaps take and tie the game. 3 to the right, 1 to the left as Routine was in motion. Sachs is going to hold on to it, and he is stumbling forward for a gain of about 2, and it'll be 2nd down. I'm seeing not much running production here from Nick Routine here in this.
Yeah, I was expecting Routine to be the workhorse based on what I had been able to pick up on, and Sachs is really the workhorse. And I suppose if we look at what's happening with the linebackers there, they may have 2 linebackers just, well.
And there you go, kind of like the broadcasters right, jinx there in a way. As right on cue, we mentioned Routine, he gets the run, and he loses about 1 yard, so that'll bring him back almost to the line of scrimmage.
Got some linebackers looking at him very closely, and so they're covering that slant. He made some yardage off of it in the early going, but it's been covered very well by the linebackers of Lake Zurich. And that may explain why Sachs is running the football so much. Here's a passing attempt, it looks like.
Yeah, and under center for this one is actually his brother Ryan. As Ryan Sachs was the sophomore quarterback taking the snap. He has a gain of about 8. It's going to be 4th and short. So don't get fooled there on that one. The younger brother, a year younger, takes it, and it's 4th and short, and Fremd is electing not to go for it here, and here comes the punting unit. So it was a member of the Sachs family. It was Ryan, though, not Andrew. With that 4th and 2, they will punt away. And it'll be Routine on the punt.
He's 150, and the older brother is 170.
And that takes a bounce out of bounds to about the 15 off the punt, as LePage decided to let that one go. And we appear to have an injured Bears player out on the field. Appeared was away from the ball. I didn't see what made the play occur, but he is wincing in a lot of pain. He is holding his right leg.
Well, with Andrew having been the quarterback last year and now a sophomore brother coming up, this Fremd program could have Sachs as a quarterback for quite a number of years, successively.
Again, didn't see who went down on the play for Lake Zurich after the punt. May have been, it looked like it was away from where the ball had gone out, so it may have been contact with maybe a blocker downfield. And if you're a Lake Zurich fan, you kind of, again, just hold your breath, considering everything that happened with Vinny Panico in that game last year, and his journey back to getting onto the field once again here in 2018. And good to see getting up on his own power. That's George Gritsionis, who got the second interception for the Bears. At first, he was holding his right leg in a lot of pain, and good to see he is being able to walk off on his own power. And now he's going to be jogging off, so maybe just a cramp. Hopefully we can see him back in the ball game soon. McGraw will come back out with his team up by 6 with 9:38 to play, with the ball on his own 15-yard line. Going out to the near right is Michael Gallus, number 88. With 2 to the left, 1 man in the backfield with McGraw. Man in motion as taking the snap there on the run. I believe that was Vegas, and it was. So Vegas got about a yard gain on the play to bring up second down.
Vegas, right side, gain of 1, 2nd and 9.
And in terms of trying to just pace this one out, John, I mean, if you're Lake Zurich, there's really no hurry and no, not saying you have to not play with any urgency, but you don't want to obviously have to rush anything either.
Got 9 minutes to go in the game and a 6-point lead.
Snap there to McGraw, goes to Vegas. And he trying to bounce off a couple of tacklers, and he gets close
Tenacious
to the 20.
Defense.
Tommy Vegas takes it for a gain of 2. 3rd and 7.
So it'll be a manageable 3rd and 7 perhaps coming up for Lake Zurich. Ball's on the 18-yard line with 8:34 now to play here in the 4th. Again, as John's been mentioning, this Vikings defense has kept the Vikings in it. Can they make another stop here? Moses in motion. Steps back, throws to the left side, and incomplete. Nothing going downfield, and the Vikings force a 3 and out.
4th down Bears.
The defense on Fremd, coached by Brent Perlman, who, as head coach at Prospect, led them to 3 state titles. And then he went as a head coach to Wheeling, but here he's a defensive coordinator with Fremd, and getting good performance out of his players tonight.
Ferry and Palmer back deep at the midfield for the Vikings, as the bobbled snap is going to turn into a 1st down for the Bears. It's not how they planned it, but they'll take it. And a new set of downs coming for Lake Zurich, and the offense is going to have to come right back out.
Quick thinking there, and he saw a little opening, and it's just enough to pick up a 1st down.
Not the way that Andrew Stanchi had planned it, but he'll take it.
We're just under 8 minutes. They can take another 3-4 minutes off, maybe get down, and I think they'd love to put a field goal on at least, you know, to give them a little breathing room.
No, the intent there all the way was to punt it downfield, and the bobbled snap and the momentum of it going forward, all the Viking defenders on that one were going back in protection, and that left the door wide open for Stanchi to just take the ball and run with it. And a great awareness play there to be obviously aware of it and look where the yards was down the field, as this run by Vegas doesn't gain much out of it. It'll be maybe a gain of 1. It'll be 2nd down.
No gain.
But if you look back on it after this game's over tonight, that may be your play of the game.
Yeah, that would have been a disaster if it had been blocked or if he had been tackled there, and Fremd could get it in, and have that short a field, pound it in, and take a 14-13 lead with, 6 minutes or so left in the game. That would have put Lake Zurich in a precarious situation.
2nd down and 9. McGraw takes a snap and throws over the middle, and it's almost intercepted. Ryan Palmer had a fingertip on it, and it's 3rd down Bears.
Pretty heavy traffic there. This This Fremd defense has just played well all over the field, putting pressure on, covering receivers, clogging up the running game. They've really done quite a job.
They're down at 9.
Lake Zurich has had that 95-yard drive, but other than that, they had the easy touchdown after the fumble.
They're down at 9 with 6:54 to play. McGraw to his left, tries to center up. He can't, and the Vikings defense stands tall again. Another sack on McGraw.
And here comes the punting team again.
So the play from Stange.
We're down to about 6.5 minutes left in the game.
Play from Stange, that was the punt that was eventually ran for a Lake Zurich first down. I guess you could say on the fake in a way. Lake Zurich does not capitalize on that opportunity. So Ferry and Palmer back deep to what they think is going to be a punt coming their way, but we've seen some weird things happen tonight. Does it happen again? Except this time it is punted nicely downfield, and the Vikings will let this one go. It takes a Bears bounce, and it'll be stopped at the 36-yard line. So yet another chance for Fremd, down by 6 with 5:58 to go.
39-yard punt. And the Vikings will take over.
And in a way,
on the 36.
there have been so many opportunities for Fremd to capitalize here tonight, John, and they just have not been able to do it.
They haven't been able to do it. They've certainly played excellent football. They have one big bobble there at the 2-yard line being the difference in the game.
And it looks like Ryan Sachs is staying out there as the quarterback, the sophomore. As he spins away from a defender, he's going to roll to his right and get a first down out of it and more as he gets into Bears territory past the 50.
Is his older brother injured, or is this sibling rivalry that we're starting to see here?
It's looking like it's still. I don't recall seeing Andrew going out due to an injury. I think maybe a quarterback change from head coach and Lou Sponzo, maybe trying to spark the offense a little bit, and surely that's what the sophomore has done here in his time out on the field tonight.
His older brother carried the ball an awful lot. Certainly he was not down on the field or anything. He may be just a little roughed up.
Yes, Ryan Sachs on that run gets about a yard on that run on the first down. And Andrew Sachs is out on the sideline cheering his brother on, so it doesn't appear to be injury based at, from our vantage point. It's not like he's sitting on the bench or anything or with the medical staff, so looks like it may have just been a personnel change, and his younger brother is trying to provide what would be an impressive drive going down the field.
They're both listed at 5'11". The younger brother looks perhaps a little taller.
Palmer in motion, the throw to the left in a dangerous spot. As the pass was intended for Will Ferry, goes incomplete, and it'll bring up third down.
Brings up a third down.
We're under 5 minutes now.
And Andrew Sachs, just know he's got his helmet on, so it's not like he wouldn't be active at this point. He's with the coaching staff trying to help the play calling. Body language seems like he's not injured. It'll be third down and long coming up for the Vikings at the Bears 49. Ryan Sachs drops back over the middle, pass incomplete. As they were looking for Nick Ratine over the middle, and that brings up fourth down for Fremd. Another good stop by Lake Zurich's defense.
That'll be fourth down for the Vikings.
And it looks like the offense may be staying out there. As the 4:48 to go, they may want to start getting a little more aggressive if you're Fremd. And they actually are going to bring out the punting unit. So they're going to trust that defense to perhaps make one more stop.
Try to punt them in real deep, and then get a good field position for what might well be a final opportunity.
A low line drive punt. is gonna take a Fremd bounce.
Oh boy, all the way out at the 3-yard line it looks like.
Yeah, they're gonna say he's out at the 6, but a great punt by Nick Ratine to take it all the way and get a good bounce in his favor to the Lake Zurich 6. So with 4:40 to play, can this Vikings defense do it one more time? I know I sound like a broken record saying that, but Fremd is running out of time here in this ball game, down by 6.
They've been very stout on defense. I believe they're playing a 4-3, which puts a lot of a front 7 in there. That's puts a lot of pressure on the quarterback.
So first down and 10 for the Bears on their own 6. They got some work to do to get out of their own area as the handoff to Vegas is up the middle towards the 10-yard line. Gets a gain of a few to bring up second down. Clock now at 4:30 and counting.
Tommy Vegas up the gut. Gain of 4.
Game was officially 4 yards on that run from Vegas. 2nd and 6 as we approach 4 minutes to go, and the officials blow the whistle and a timeout charge to Lake Zurich. It's their first time out of this half. They have 2 remaining. Again, just a quick programming reminder. Again, our week 2 game next week, we will see these same Fremd Vikings take on Hersey High School for week 2 action at 7:30 next Friday the 31st. So make sure you stick around and be sure to check that game out later. We round off the final day of September, or August rather, of week 2 of high school football.
So
maybe the weather will be a little more warmer come next week.
It's a rare occurrence to have 2 high school football Fridays in the month of August. I think it happens the way the calendar works, and
based on the
about once every 10 years or something like that. You know, it's very rare.
Yeah, we mentioned this before. The rarity too of the weather here tonight makes you feel like it's more of week 7. Usually it's a humid and hot night where not everybody's in jackets and sweatshirts. You prepared accordingly, John? I did not.
Yeah, I felt a little chill in the air as I was leaving the house.
As the handoff to Vegas as he's trying to spin away from a few tacklers, has a gain of about 1 yard or 2, and it'll bring up 3rd down with 3:54 now to go.
Tommy Vegas fights for 2. Third and 4.
Looking here as well, we've seen the quarterback personnel switch up a little bit. McGraw is staying out, I believe. Yeah, he is. He's on the sidelines right now. And it looks like the Bears are going to just let the clock go out as much as they can, as Moses is just kind of standing on the sidelines, along with their head coach looking with the side official to perhaps call the timeout when they absolutely want to, and that is what they are going to do.
They've got the clock all the way down to 3:12.
Vikings still have all 3 of their timeouts. Bears have 2. I should say 1. They used their 2nd. So they're down to 1 timeout remaining in the half. And presuming if the Vikings get a stop here on this 3rd down, and the way that Ryan Sachs has played for the Vikings at the quarterback spot, replacing his older brother Andrew, the sophomore taking over for the junior, has really been a nice surprise here in the 2nd half, despite them not being able to score yet in this half.
Very surprising circumstance. I've never seen 2 brothers, you know, competing for a job like this, or I can't recall it offhand.
Especially a mid-game change week 1. They're down in 4. Perhaps the game on the line as the rollout. Moses under center, and a nice pass and a nice catch. And getting past the 25 for a first down was Luke Dwyer.
That's with 3:04 left.
So Moses to Dwyer, the play is executed perfectly, and the Bears get plenty of breathing room as the ball is now spotted at their own 26. And again, the clock does stop as the chains do have to reset, but once they get them reset, the clock then begins to run. And Vikings being precautious with their 3 timeouts. They're not calling them yet. They may be starting to do it rather soon, though, as we have 2:50 to go.
Fresh set of downs.
Bunch formation as Vegas takes the handoff and gets to about the 31. About a 5-yard gain.
2nd and 5,
And the clock's still running. Vikings not using a timeout yet. They have all 3. And as you may have to wonder at this point, John, if that Vikings defense is just running out of gas.
They've been on the field quite a bit and played very well. They played with aggressiveness and certainly used up a lot of energy.
Under 2 now to go. Legs are again taking their time as the handoff to Vegas, and he gets towards the 35. And the clock now stops as it appears Fremd has decided to call the first of the 3 timeouts. Clock is at 1:48.
Tommy Vegas picks up 4.
That big
32.
sophomore, no. Is a big sophomore on Fremd. 73. Thotark Kuba.
Yeah,
Thotakura.
Yeah.
Thotakura. Yeah.
A lot of it's
Only
funny.
a sophomore.
It's funny you mentioned that because as when I was talking to some of the Vikings coaches in the booth to our right before the game, they're just like, just call him Arnoff. He'll be more happy.
Call him what?
They just say call him Arnoff, and they say you'll be more happy if you do.
No. By the first name.
Yep.
Yeah.
So a big 3rd down and 1, with perhaps the game on the line right here for Fremd, if they want to somehow try to get back in it.
Almost certainly the ball game if they make it.
Big bunch formation, 1 receiver out to the left. Can Fremd make one final stand on defense? And it looks like they are.
They don't make it.
That's going to push Vegas back to the 34. Looks like he may have lost the yard, and Fremd calls a timeout. So we are not done yet by any means. And how aggressive does Lake Zurich get here with about a 4th down and 2 to go? You would have to imagine, perhaps, John, do you punt it to play it safe and trust your defense, or do you just get aggressive and try to get those 2 yards and then just go home with the victory?
Well, both of these teams have had some problems with snaps and fumbles and so on, and I think they probably punt this one. It's it would end the ball game if they made it in 4th and 1, but on the other hand, you'd be turning it over if you didn't at the 34-yard line. That gives them a chance. So I think they'll punt it.
And that's looking like what they're going to do. As Ferry and Ratine go back deep. Although they're not going that far back, as they're trying to look out for perhaps a fake. And the punt does go away, but it's not the best punt. That wind is blowing it back in favor of Fremd. And the Fremd Vikings are going to start this drive.
Only about 12 yards or so.
Yep, they're going to start this drive in Bears territory at the Lake Zurich 48. And with 90 seconds to play, there's still time left for Fremd to make something happen here.
On the 48-yard line, 1.5.
Yeah, and a 1-yard gain would have effectively ended the game.
Look at this. Andrew Sachs has now come back out into the ball game, replacing his younger brother, Ryan. So the junior replaces the sophomore. Older brother for younger brother with 1:30 to go. Ratine in motion. Andrew Sachs takes the snap, rolls to his right, and he is immediately met in a one-on-one battle. He wanted to go for the run. He didn't get anywhere with it. A big loss and a long 2nd down coming up.
Sachs keep first. Stop by Jack Labrie.
Clock ticking away. We're just over a minute to go in the game now.
1:09 to go. Fremd's got one timeout. They're trying to use that sparingly, obviously, as they're back in their own territory at their own 49. Fake handoff. Andrew Sachs has time.
Coming.
He's looking to throw down the field.
Deep.
There's a man down, and it is dropped by Ferry.
He had a chance to catch that at the 19-yard line and couldn't hold on.
That's number 9, Luke Dwyer on the pass breakup.
Dwyer on the
Third down, Vikings.
deflection. Should say Ryan Palmer was the one that was looking for the ball downfield and looked like he had a hand on it, just couldn't bring it in. And that'll bring up 3rd and 13 with 52 seconds to go. It is getting loud here at Lake Zurich. 3rd and 13 with perhaps the game on the line right here. 2 to the left, 2 to the right. Andrew Sachs on the slant. It is caught. Hip shin. Past the 45, and he's marked at the 44.
Bring up
the clock
fourth
is
down.
The clock is still going. They better start doing something. They're kind of standing around.
Well,
Andrew Sachs finally gets the play.
30, just over 30 seconds now.
And
in
counting.
the game.
And they will call a timeout. And Andrew Sachs is not happy with them calling the timeout.
Let a lot of valuable time roll off the clock.
Yeah, I would say about a good 12 seconds ticked off there in between. So now the Vikings are out of timeouts. Bears do have one left. It is 4th down and 7. So the final play perhaps for the Vikings to keep this alive, down by 6. And it's been their defense that's really put them in this spot to keep them in it all game long. As players now get back out on the field, ball is at the 44. 4th down and 6, 27 seconds. Can Fremd try to stun this Lake Zurich crowd? Andrew Sachs, the quarterback, routine in motion. Sachs to his left, intercepted, and that'll be the ball game.
Oh boy, and he might add a touchdown. He's going all the way. He's going all the way.
Luke Dwyer with the pick 6, and that'll be the exclamation point on week 1.
Boy, Fremd has played such a tough game. 2 monumental turnovers, a fumble at the 2, and now an interception returned some 65 yards or so. Will make this game look much more one-sided than it was.
He took that 60 yards to the house. It's 19-7 now, Lake Zurich extra point pending, and the Bears are gonna start the season off just like they did last year with a win against the Fremd Vikings, this time on their home turf. And they need a ball on the field. So you can't have the extra point unless there's a ball out there. Kind of is important. I want to thank the great cam work as always from Bruce Anderson with us up top as well. And next week we'll see these same Fremd Vikings taking on Hersey High School next Friday night for a 7:30 p.m. kickoff. Stangy for the extra point. We'll try to make it 20-7. The snap, the hold, and the kick. It is up, and it is good. 20-7 Lake Zurich.
Quite a bit on that kick. It would have been good from maybe 35 yards out. But,
What a
so 20-7, and you know, Fremd looks at it and says, well, if we didn't fumble on the 2-yard line and then have that pick 6 right at the end, we'd be 7-7.
Yeah, I know the score is a 2-touchdown score, but the story of this game has not been because of the 2-score deficit that Fremd has right now. for a better part of 45 total game minutes here tonight, John. They really were in the thick of it against a team in Lake Zurich that, coming into this year, had all the makings of being a state championship caliber team. And it's not to say this don't look like one, but this is not the 1-8 Fremd team we saw a year ago by any means.
This is more like a typical Fremd team, and Fremd is I've watched them over the years, and they're a hard luck team in the playoffs. They've lost a tremendous number of playoffs by 1, 2, 3 points, and by stuff like the sort of thing that we're seeing tonight. One big key play that went the wrong way, and all of a sudden they've lost. I know they lost to York probably 8, 9 years ago on a fumble they were going in for the touchdown at the 2, and it was picked up by York and run back all the way.
Ryan Palmer receives the kickoff and gets taken down just short of the 25 with 11 seconds to play.
Fremd had a really good run under Donatucci there for a while, where they had about 5 straight Mid-Suburban West titles.
So as you mentioned, we'll be having that game with Fremd taking on Hersey High School next Friday night. And for the Bears from Lake Zurich, who will get this Week 1 victory here tonight, they'll be taking on Nazareth Academy here at home tomorrow, or I should say not tomorrow, next week, for a 7 o'clock kickoff. Andrew Sachs with the completion to Ryan Palmer for the first down pass to 35, and that will do it, perhaps with one more play to go, as they will have to stop the clock to reset the chains. As the players get set to shake hands at the 50. But a good Week 1 matchup we had here tonight. And the final play, Andrew Sachs will roll to his left, and he's just going to heave it to the left side, and out of bounds it'll go.
Way out of bounds. Yeah.
And the ball game is over. And the Lake Zurich Bears, who are on a redemption tour in 2018, get the 20-7 victory over the Fremd Vikings.
Well, they got the win, but Fremd is this big part of the story here tonight. The way they played on defense all night long, really, and offensively they just didn't cash in much. Had the one touchdown, and with the mistake at the 2-yard line, and then the pick 6. Those 2 big plays made this score much wider than it otherwise would have been.
And you're mentioning it being, the bigger story tonight with how well Fremd has improved from the way it ended last year. Their defense, extremely stout all night.
Yeah, all night long. Defense was tough, and they didn't generate quite the balance in their running game. It was a little too quarterback dominated. So somehow Ratine and some of the other running backs have to contribute a little more there to give them balance in that running game, a little more, a broader dimension. And their passing game will probably come along as the season progresses, just through experience. And Lake Zurich has to be thinking, well, they're playing a real good Nazareth team next week, and they've got to step it up. I think their passing game showed some signs that it could really have. They missed a touchdown early on a long pass, and they had a number of nice passes, but not quite what I had expected after having seen them pass so well in that game against St. Rita last fall in the playoffs. And so I think timing on their passing game and a little more strength on the running game. They had a lot of running backs in there, and at times were moving the ball, but not quite as consistently as they would have liked, I'm sure.
So again, the final score here from Lake Zurich High School. The Bears get their home opener as a victory over the Fremd Vikings by the score of 20-7. They'll be taking on Nazareth Academy next Friday night here at the same place for a 7 o'clock kickoff, and we'll have the game next week where the Fremd Vikings will take on John Hersey High School. So thanks for joining us here for our HETV Game of the Week for Week 1. For John Anderson and Bruce Anderson, I'm Ryan Fay signing off. This has been your Week 1 HETV Game of the Week. So long, everybody.